A cross-section of what voters are saying. I mean, there is a potential, isn't there, that they're going to be bored before this campaign's even started, because we're just into the new year. We've potentially got, 5 months of campaigning.
Yeah, I mean, just before I came to the studio this evening, I was on the telephone to voters in Leeds West, talking to them about the challenges they face at the moment. Issues like jobs, pensions and the gritting of the roads came up, and those are the sorts of things, and the health service and education and schools that I'll be focusing on in the months leading up to the general election.
Are you, as a candidate, really actively campaigning now, or, I mean, when would you start?
Well, I was selected as a candidate in Leeds West over 2 years ago, and during that time I had been going around knocking on doors, delivering leaflets, doing street stalls, doing the telephone canvassing, because I think it is very important, especially as trust has been eroded so much in the last year in politics, to go around and talk to voters about their needs and their concerns and make sure that we're representing them.
Now, as we were saying, the Tories unveiled the first part of their manifesto today, saying that the National Health Service is their priority. They're going to cut the deficit, but not the NHS, and really trying to steal Labour's clothes on the NHS.
Well, Labour have said that there are 4 areas of public spending that are going to be ring-fenced, and they are police numbers, so police out on the beat, Sure Start centres, frontline spending on the health service and school spending. So Labour are committed to protect frontline health spending as well. And some of the things that the Conservatives spoke about today in terms of health inequalities, I would welcome, because in the last 12 or so years in government, Labour have done a huge amount to tackle health inequalities. The seat that I'm standing in, Leeds West, average earnings are about £15,000 or £16,000 a year, so pretty low in terms of national average earnings. And during that time we've seen huge investment reducing teenage pregnancies, reducing the number of people dying from heart and smoking related diseases, and the things like banning of smoking in public places have made a big difference in terms of tackling health inequalities.
But interesting that David Cameron and the Tories have been talking about putting the most resources for the NHS into the poorest areas. Now, that's the sort of policy you might traditionally have expected from the Labour Party, but the Labour Party is saying the Tories' policies are based on the playing fields of Eton, but this is quite an egalitarian policy, isn't it? Talking about pumping money into the poorer areas.
It'll be interesting to see what it means in practice, and Alistair Darling spoke this morning about the £34 billion gap between what the Conservatives have said they're going to spend and what they've committed in terms of their tax policies. And if they're saying today that there's going to be more spending, then we do need to know where that money is going to come from, because, as people said in your clips beforehand, things are tough at the moment, and when you go out knocking on doors, you know that families are struggling to make ends meet, and it's right that the government as well looks again at everything it's spending and all the money it's getting in taxes and making sure that we're getting the very best value for money. And with just a few months to go to the general election, David Cameron needs to be much more transparent with the public about what he's going to be taxing and what he's going to be spending, because he says he wants to reduce the budget deficit faster than Labour is going to do, but he has made no concrete proposals about how he's going to achieve that. I think voters rightly expect a bit more concrete policy from the Leader of the Opposition.
OK, Rachel Reeves, Labour's candidate for Leeds West at the next election. Months of campaigning ahead of you. Thanks very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.